Now then, folks, now then, people. Well, that felt strange. Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and another episode of The Final Word. We've got a stellar lineup for you tonight. Luke from Ought Know Better, Eve from Discourse of a Peacock. We've got Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds and Mr. Ben Lock from Lockheed Leeds. It is a top-notch lineup, and we've got a great game to get our teeth into. Leeds United 4, Swansea 3. Grab from the jaws of a draw. And yeah, absolute pandemonium in the end as Willie Nonto sealed 3 points for Leeds United, which sees them go top of the table. Happy days. Or is it? Because still some find reasons to be unhappy, which blows my mind. Luke, I'm going to come to you first and foremost, mate. Give me your thoughts on the game. Yeah, just go on. I've spoke about it so much. I'm going to hand it over to you, mate, and you tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty similar wavelength to you, I think, George. Just my mind's blown at people have woke up this morning and decided to start putting collages of Meslier and where he stood and Daniel Farke's tactics and look, are you not entertained? Like, you know what I mean? It's people are complaining that we're winning games by 1 or 2 and not conceding shots on target. We go out and absolutely have the most, I don't know even how to describe it without being rude, but yeah, just an absolute manic game on it. It very much reminded me of last season early on at Ipswich. And yeah, just, you know, we come away with 3 points. You think people might be a bit happy. You know, we've played some good football. We've scored 4 goals. Solomon's got on the score sheet. Dan James has got a couple of assists, 3 assists, if you include the own goal. So, not a lot to be unhappy about. Do you know, I think it'd been very different if we'd have been sat here and we would have come away with a point from that game, because I thought whilst I think Swansea were half decent, they tried playing us almost at our own game. They weren't sitting behind the ball all that much in comparison to your Millwalls and other clubs we've faced recently. So it was quite an open game. But look, you've got to be happy to go down there on a Sunday afternoon and come away after scoring 4 goals and getting 3 points. To be unhappy about that, I just think there's things going on in people's lives that actually is more, you know, it's probably counteracting what's going on in their own lives rather than, I mean, it was Sunday. Should have been eating a Sunday dinner, chilling, few pints, enjoying the football. We've won 4-3, and then I've woken up this morning and the amount of stick I've got for something I posted yesterday, just because I was happy with 1. Like, I mean, I can't explain it. I don't know. I'm hoping somebody on here disagrees with me and can try and help me understand, because I honestly don't get the frame of thought. I honestly don't.
Yeah. So a few pints or 12, whatever your poison is, I guess, you know. Evie, you were ill yesterday. I hope you're feeling better. Did Leeds United make you feel better? I assume so.
Well, yeah, after like almost killing me off first, I actually missed the 4th goal because I'd stormed off into the kitchen to go smash some plates, get them out of the dishwasher, because I was absolutely...
You agree?
No. I was absolutely raging. I just couldn't believe that we'd done it again. I was fuming, and then I had to run through, and I couldn't believe it. And one of our kids said, "Oh, it looked offside. It looked offside." I was like, "The flag's not gone up. We're not in the Premier League. It's fine. We can celebrate. We're allowed to if it's not gone up." So yeah, it was absolute elation. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I felt sick in every way that you can possibly feel: sick, good, bad, indifferent, furious, elated. Yeah, it was just a whole range of emotions, and that kind of, for me, defines what Leeds United is. It takes you to the very brink of despair and then, you know, brings you back in, and then yeah, you end up just being ridiculously, you know, I was able to stick my middle finger up at the screen to all those Swansea fans who were singing at 9 minutes in, "Leeds are falling apart again." Oh, that was sweet. That was very, very sweet.
Yeah. Do you know, just on that, Evie, is there a case that you'd prefer us to be a little bit boring in the next game, perhaps? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, my heart would like that, because like the anxiety that Leeds United gives me, yeah, I think for my health benefits, I say yes. But that, you can't lie, that was entertaining. Like, that was risky, it was exhilarating, it was frustrating, it was every single kind of, jeopardy, that you could imagine. And we've been guilty of being very entitled as Leeds fans, over the last couple of seasons, of the fact that, well, it's like we've been stuck in that in-between land. We know that we're too good for the Championship, but we haven't seen anything other than that first season with Bielsa in the last 20 years to say that we're good enough to be in the Premier League. But in a lot of people's minds, that's where we are. And the reality is that we're not. So the fact that we've been quite clinical in terms of, we've just got the job done, we've done what we've needed to do, kept clean sheets. It may not be the most exhilarating, but I love Bielsa, but he's not coming back, and we're not going to have
Get over it. Is that what you're telling me, to get over?
No, I'm not. He's sat over there somewhere over my shoulder. So I love him, but he's the exception to the rule. Farke is more of the rule of what gets you promoted. It was a whole lot of happy things that came, the stars aligned when Bielsa joins. It doesn't always end up that way. You can't turn every glass of water into wine. So no. I think the fact that we got entertaining football, and it was kind of the nearest thing that Farke will ever be able to produce to being like a Bielsa type performance, but he wasn't happy with it. That's not his style. He's very controlled and things. So I think we saw a little bit more Leeds and less Farke yesterday.
Yeah. I think as well, just on the style thing, I still stand by the point that had Bielsa never come to this football club, this would have been the best football we've witnessed for the past 2 decades. But people forget all this, do you know what I mean? And say it's rubbish and it's boring and it's this. I mean, we're top of the league, aren't we? We're top of the league, and there's an opportunity to maybe create a gap over the next 2, which we'll touch on. Matty, Tash looking great as ever, my man.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Watch out the wind, don't blow it off, son. Watch out the wind. Talk to me, mate. How are your emotions, man? Roller coaster.
Just because I feel like a few people have forgotten. We're top of the league. We're top of the league. We're Leeds United. We're top of the league. Because I think a few people have forgotten this fact. Right.
Why haven't you done it in your proper singing voice? I've seen your proper singing voice. This guy can sing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he can sing.
Yeah, I do my best. But no, a lot of this with the boring tag. And obviously yesterday was far from that. I don't like how, if you're not exciting, you're boring. Why can't we just say we're controlled and measured? Why has it got to be the narrative of boring? Do you know what I mean? Just because we're not exciting, does that mean we're turgid? I don't agree with that narrative either. But like when you look at yesterday's game, it could just end up being a one-off. I don't know if you agree with that, but you look at it and go, what part of the picture we're less concerned of this season? It's got to be defence. So if you look at this like an outlet, we conceded 4. I don't expect to concede 4 every week. But we had 4 shots on target and scored 4. And what's the area that we normally moan about? Being clinical. So for me, I come away with it with a totally different mindset. Buzzing. You've got players coming in who some people didn't expect to play. I told you, Joe, I expected Solomon to play and I expected him to play well. And he got 2 goals. Nonto comes off at bench. People saying, why has he dropped him? He's come off at bench and impacted game and got a goal. A lot of people with the whole Pirro thing, I think yesterday proved that Pirro's a better impact player than a starter, which I'm sure we'll go into. I feel like all round, I don't see what to moan about yesterday. It definitely ain't boring, I don't think. Yesterday was exciting, but I just don't agree with the boring narrative. That really annoys me. I just feel like, you have spells where it's quite boring, but then you're still getting a moment. It's a 4-3 game. So like you say, Farke can't win, and eventually these Farke out narratives will be proven when he gets sacked, hopefully a long time from now, but eventually that will happen. And they'll all be able to say, I told you so. But for me, I just think he gets a lot of stick when, you take Bielsa away, and he's best manager you've had since O'Leary, let's be honest. So, yeah, I'm all for him.
He's the best manager to ever grace the Championship as stats.
1.97 points a game, mate. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy numbers. And, and look, we had this a little bit last season because you can think back to Ipswich. We had it against Portsmouth. We had it in this game, obviously. So there are scenarios and times when this can happen under Farker, and I know he much prefers control. Lockie was speaking about in it, because again, and this is where I have to sort of back him a little bit, because everyone goes, "We dropped off. Why is the manager? We dropped off." First thing Farker says in his press conference today, "We dropped too deep. I want us pressing high." So there is also a case of the players going, "Oh, we're under the cosh here." Naturally, their heads go, "I'm going to drop deep," when really the manager's saying, "No, get your fucking sends out." And that's what the coach is there for. So it's not always his fault, So we have to remember that. This wasn't a deliberate decision by the manager, drop deep, But anyway, I have to back him where I can. Lockie, how did you see it, my mate? Emotions all over. I turned my WhatsApp off because you two were ahead, so you get no.
I told Andrea, and we DM'd him then. Yeah.
But you were, it was popping off when I'd finished and opened my WhatsApp back up.
Yeah, mate. Oh my god, I loved it. I loved it and hated it, and an equal measure. Like 90th minute, I hated it when it went 3-3, but then when we scored a minute later, it went 4-3. Honestly, my voice is going. I had to take some them voice tablets yesterday because it was just absolutely gone, absolutely horrible, mate. But this is football, innit? This is what I always say. I love the fact that this can happen in football. I hate the fact that, imagine a game where it's always going to be a nice, simple, easy 2-0, an easy 1-0. That's great, innit? But you've got to have a bit of this in a season. You've got to have a bit of this. This is what the sport is. You get these shock results or these crazy games. Remember the Birmingham one? I was at work during that, and my phone kept going off every 5 minutes, and I couldn't believe it. It was mental. These are the games that at the end of the season that you get the memories from. These are the ones, not the boring or the easier 2-0ers or whatever. So this is the sport, and it's fun. I enjoyed it. I hated it at the same time. Because it's horrible, isn't it? When you're used to being in control of every game and then suddenly there's a goal going every 5 minutes. But this is football, Joe. This is the unpredictability of this league, the sport, like Leeds United as well. It's what we do sometimes. You mentioned Ipswich there. How many times last year did they do exactly this? And that was kind of the thing that got them over the line in the end, wasn't it? It was them late wins that they kept getting. Whether it was an own goal that they had a lot of. Look, we got one yesterday, This is it, mate. It's fun. I can't take it every week. That's just I can't have it on Wednesday. Not. Just give me a nice little chill one on Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? But
you make a good point there on Ipswich as well, because for me, I thought about it earlier on. I thought I'm going to mention it. It's all I seem to do is think about back in Leeds. But it's like, Luke, if this was Ipswich that got this result last season, we'd all be going, "Oh my God, what a side. We don't ever do that." But when we do it, it's like, he got his tactics all wrong, man. This is the one that does me head in. We got away with one. We papered over the cracks. That's what someone said. I won't dig him out because I already came for him earlier on. But mad, papering over the cracks and you're top of the league. Insane.
Joe, it's mad. I had somebody say to me, "We can't be conceding 3 goals in a game in the next game." I was like, "It's not good enough. We need to be improving on that." And I said, "Well, we've conceded 12 in 16 games in the league. Is that good enough? Like, what when, bigger picture, when will it ever be good enough? If that's not good enough now, I think that's the difficulty. And I think Evie actually hit the nail on the head with this hangover that's come on the back of Bielsa and the fan base. The expectancy now is that we've got to play like Bielsa. And I even had a conversation with somebody earlier and said, "What would you prefer? Would you prefer results or to see excitement and potentially lose games at those types of games?" And he seriously said to me, "Excitement." And he was being 100% honest. I was like, "You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious. You cannot be telling me now you would prefer to have lost that game last night, but since play a different style of football. You cannot be serious, I just think people have made their mind up on Farker too early, and they're ashamed to go back on the word.
Yeah,
and similar with Melier, similar with Paddy. We like a scapegoat, don't we? And I think probably most clubs do have them with quite a big fan base, and there's lots of echoing goes on. And I think that is the case. People are afraid and ashamed to actually say, "Do you know what? This is great. This is actually quite good. We're winning games, you know. Similar when we went on that great run last season, you know, the people that were saying Fark out at Christmas just absolutely shit themselves. You didn't see them on social media for 3 weeks, for a month or whatever it was, 2 months. You know what I mean? And it's happened already this season where we went on that little run, you know. And then as soon as we got beat by Millwall, they were all back out of the woodwork. It's all we've created this. I don't want to say entitled because I don't think it is necessarily entitlement. It is an expectancy that we have to go and win every game. And then on the back of that, we have to see that because we expect to win every game, we've got to see good football as part of that. And I don't think the football's been bad. I will be brutally honest. I don't think the football is as boring and as turgid as some people are making out.
No.
You know, they only see what they want to see. And I get that. But yeah, I am honestly clueless, and I don't know how people have got this point of view and this perspective unless they've already made their mind up, and it is simply a bias. So at that stage, there's no helping. You're not going to convince somebody else online over Times New Roman that you know that they're going to be that they're wrong, and they're not going to admit it. Very few people. I'm one of them. I'll stick to my guns, and I very very rarely change my mind on something, but. Yeah, I just don't. I'm perplexed, mate. Is probably the best word.
That's a good word.
Can I ask you, Luke, because like I have used the phrase and I've used it for a long time of the entitlement. If it's not entitlement, what's the difference between entitlement and expectancy in terms of like you see Man City fans kicking off and acting as if the world has ended when they don't win a game? I know they are on for Man City on really bad form at the minute, but they are entitled. You know, their actual good football has been such a small sample size over the longevity of their club that their fans are entitled. So what's the difference between us being entitled and Man City?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's the level of football. We are at a level where we're not winning trophies regularly, and they are. Which I think the difference specifically between an entitlement and expectancy is that because of the level we're playing at, we're expected to win both games, whereas Man City are entitled because they've won the league however many times in the last many years. They've won the cup, and you know that I think that's probably my biggest differential, if you like, between the two. But yeah, it could well be an entitlement, but
no, I'm not trying to pick you out. It's just like I'm literally just.
You're wanting your own clipping section, aren't you? You and Luke going
I don't know the best like terminology to phrase it because it's the only kind of word that I can kind of think of when it comes to it in terms of that. You know, again, I know that we.
I hear you though.
Other than Bielsa.
Yeah,
we were a mid-table championship club.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I had somebody try and tell me they would rather see Gary Monk ball over, and I said, "Do you know we lost games to Barnsley to who was the team in London begins with?"
That football wasn't good, man. That football
shit
wasn't
under
good.
Gary Monk.
I know.
Up just to make yourself feel better. That Farker's doing all right.
We're good at set pieces. That were about it.
Yeah, exactly. It was 1-0 Wood. We used to win 1-0 Wood. That was it, man.
It was tough.
And back and everything away.
Yeah.
But just going back to your question, I think an entitlement comes when you are a sort of a Man United, a scum who've won the league so many times and they think they can sign any player they want for the right month. They've got that. I think that's probably the difference between entitlement and certainly some of our fans will be entitled. I'm sure they will be. Yeah. But I think it's more of an expectancy. We go into every game expecting to win now because we are the big fish in a small pond and we expect to win. So the secondary to that, because we're expected to win, people have now moved on to performance and people expect then now to see some sexy football, which it hasn't been unsexy. Is unsexy a word? But it hasn't been ugly football. But people are expecting. We've got this. We've set this barometer now. Or we haven't set that barometer. Marcelo Bielsa set this barometer for the club that we've got to play specific type and a specific style, and it's always going to be great. And we could score 6 but concede 2, but we don't concede many shots on target. Over the last 7 games, I think we've conceded about 10 shots on target in 7 games, and I would rather have that win games than actually be winning 7-2 and then next week losing 5-4 to 10 men Wigan. Do you know what I mean? So look, I'm not. This isn't a dig at Marcelo Bielsa because it was the best years of arguably of my life supporting Leeds since I can remember. So it isn't a dig at him or his style or anything, but I think that's certainly where the expectancy or the entitlement has come from.
And I just want to add on that. So many boring games as well in that era. People don't remember there were so many exciting ones. Let's be fair, but there were so many games in this league, especially.
We struggled to break down a low block, Lucky.
All the time, bro.
And his changes, and people are living off this history and this.
They were bad, bro. They were bad. His changes.
They were as predictable as Farkas, weren't they?
Tyler Roberts on it.
They were worse than Farkas, man. Let's be honest.
And I don't look. He had better. Of
course,
Farkas got a different level of player to his disposal. So. To his disposal, but some of them players were disposable. To be fair, that Bielsa had to manage. But so it's not necessarily a comparison between the two, but actually people just forget because they live onto this history and they've got this memory in their mind of everything was rosy. And believe you me, it wasn't. And all of us know that because we watched it. Do you know what I mean? But people just like to paint this picture.
How many clubs, guys, right, will get a manager like Bielsa, obviously not Bielsa, but of that level in the Championship, and then finish 9th? And he's a manager that can manage at the top of the game. And we had him in Championship. Like Farke, you can't build an house with no foundations. We're not saying Farke's going to win Champions League. We're not saying he's going to get us in Europe. But for where we are right now, and to consolidate next year in the Premier League, let's be fair, in life you deserve a chance if you do well at something. So 100% I'm fucking backing that he has a goal next season when we run this league this season. He deserves a goal. Straight out line, where morals. I know it's not my money, and I know you've got to be ruthless in business. I am a businessman, so I won't know, and I'll never have a pot to piss in because I live by that rule. But he should get a chance next year when he gets us up this year. And then he's good enough to consolidate. They'll back him to a degree. And then after that, if we part ways, we part ways. But everyone's just got to realise, it were a 1 in a million shot that we got a manager that good in Championship. So we've got someone for our level now.
The people criticising Farke were the same ones that wanted rid of Bielsa in the end.
Of course,
fucking get it up.
People just need to realise, like you say, he's perfect where we are now, and he'll hopefully can consolidate it next season. And then when we part ways, which will happen at some point, whether it's next year after, he isn't going to go on to a better club than Leeds United. I would assume his next club will be below Leeds United. It'll be a sacking. I don't think he'll leave to go somewhere bigger. So that will come eventually. But right now, I think it's a match made in heaven, and I think we're doing pretty well. The league table shows that, does it not?
It does, mate. You bang on. You've hit every name.
Now officially the best team in the league, by the way, because we're top of the league, which we weren't 2 games ago. Apparently.
Joe, where you at, Joe? Where you at?
I don't. I asked him this question on Twitter earlier, and he just put an eye roll at me. So
Love it.
I was like, "Don't roll your eyes at me, Mr. Lynch."
Oh man, I love Joe. He's not taking it well, man. He's
a lovely guy.
It is what it is. I love you, Joe. I love you. It is mad though. Like it changes week. Oh, what about these crazy stacks? Just thinking that. The last 3 times Liverpool have won the league, Leeds have been promoted, and the top of the league, and we're top of the league, and it's mad, isn't it? Look at me and Matty here getting his guns out and that. Go on,
come on. Honestly, mate, my ADHD's playing up here. I can't keep still. I'm just ready to go. I've been itching all day for this. Love it.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. Lockie, we're gonna have to talk Meslier again because it's been done. I still think it's his fault. Am I being harsh?
So I watched the highlights back today, and it had a really good angle actually behind the goal. So it showed late. So when Cullen shoots, he's actually going to his side, so it'd have gone straight to him. Right. So in that sense, you can say positionally he was right. But when he takes the deflection, obviously it just goes out of his grasp. But because he committed he committed a lot to go into that side. You can tell by his body language, he's proper left. So he struggles to get down to the other side. For me, my only criticism with that was you could probably still have been a slightly bit more central and dealt with it either way because Cullen was central. Look, I don't think it's as we talk about Meslier's season and what he's done, but as an individual moment, I don't think it's really as bad. People are acting like he dropped the ball and threw it into the back of his net. I think it's just literally a step or two to his right and he's in a better position. But it takes a deflection. Look, yeah, and if he weren't so balanced to one side, he probably would have got down quicker and probably should have saved it. So yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and at the end of the day, look, when we go up, I think it's definitely a conversation. I think it's somewhere we might have to improve, I'll be honest.
I agree.
But what else can I say? I'm not a goalkeeper. I don't know the ins and outs of it. That's just my observation. I'm not an expert in it, but I think positionally he was slightly off.
Yeah.
Deflection though, and if he didn't take deflection, it probably goes straight into him. So he took that risk.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my.
Do you not think whether
if Southampton's anything, Sunderland's anything to go by?
Do you not think, guys, no matter whether you love Millie or you hate him or you back him or you don't, after this season, the end of this year will be the highest ceiling at Leeds he's probably going to have. Like, if you're going to sell him, you'd sell him now as opposed to going into a Premier League season when you're potentially going to struggle most weeks. And we've seen what he's like in Premier League. We've seen, I don't think we'll be as open in Premier League under Farker or whoever else we get. But I think if we go up, he's going to have a hell of a lot of clean sheets, whether that's, solely on him, which I don't agree with. I know metrics show that it's a collective, really, hence why he ain't conceded many goals, mainly down to defence and midfield. But I think when we go up as champions, you look at moving him on at the end of this year, because I think he'll only go downhill in the Premier League. I don't know what you think of that.
I just think we need a really experienced goalkeeper for Prem, to be honest.
Yeah. Ramsdale, man. Ramsdale when Southampton come down. Yeah. What are we saying?
Yeah. Is he signed?
I think.
It's not on loan,
do you know what? I don't know if he's signed or what, but he's
Kelleher.
Kelleher will go elsewhere, I think. Yeah, he'll go elsewhere.
Good shout.
But I do think Ramsdale, because he's a proper shithouse as well, so he'd get on at Leeds. Do you know what I mean? He'd get it, if that makes sense. I know that's he gets it, but I think he would.
I want a keeper that'll get it and not let it go in the net. I don't really need a keeper who gets
Ramsdale's guilty of a few shaky moments, though.
But that's what I mean is I don't want a Ramsdale because I don't think
he won a World Cup.
I don't rate him if I'm honest. Like
goalkeepers are calamities. David James's nickname was Calamity. Like England's number one. Do you know what I mean? Like we just need to get this stupid thing out of our heads that goalkeeper is there and he's going to save every shot. It's not ice hockey. The goals.
Just want him to save some of them, and that's.
I mean, he made 2 saves yesterday.
Yeah, but what, they had 5 shots and ended up with 3 goals. It's not.
We had 4 in the before.
Yeah.
But in fairness to Mez,
they're expecting to be mid-table championship. We're expected for automatic promotion. And
I do think one area of his game he got well. Sorry, I think he claimed crosses really well yesterday.
Yeah, he did. That was I saw that.
I think that's fair to say if we are criticising him. There were parts that he did do well.
Yesterday. Yeah.
He's just inconsistent.
It did take a deflection, and I was watching Joe, you and Connor earlier on, and I thought Connor made a really good point of the fact of I would just like him to actually save us at one point in a game. I would love Meslier to have that golden moment, like Nonto did at the other end. He got us that win. I would love Meslier. If the fact that you can name on one hand the amount of games that you remember him saving us, Leicester, Liverpool, you can remember Arsenal in the cup. You can remember all of these games out of 4 years he's been with us now. That's not great. Like his trajectory. How many games
he's cost us though?
Yeah, quite a few.
Go on, then name more than 3.
This year, Sunderland, Portsmouth, almost yesterday's game without Nonto coming on. He costs us that one.
You think he cost us the game yesterday, potentially?
Potentially, yeah, because his positioning, the deflection, I'm not saying that the deflection didn't change the course of it, but his positioning should be better in general.
I agree with that.
It's not an odd one, because we would all forgive him if it was an odd one. It's a consistent pattern. And when you've got a consistent pattern, there is something wrong. His career, considering we all say he's such a young keeper, but he's played more football than most keepers his age, and probably for the next kind of 4 years, he's played more football. Yeah. And yet his statistics actually show him decreasing year on year on year. And we've come down a level and we're facing less shots, and he still is conceding goals that have such a low XG value. That means that he's not doing his job. His defenders and our midfield have been so solid that the one game that they all had a shaky game. So I'm not saying he cost us all of those goals yesterday, because Rodon wasn't great yesterday. No. But and just the defence in general wasn't great. But that's what I mean about he should be able to then save us in those games. When other people are having a bad day, you should be able, for one game or 2 games a season, be able to rely on your goalkeeper and say, you save us because we save your bacon every week, so you don't have to face shots. So this week, it's your turn to save us.
100%.
I think he's still the record holder in the Premier League for the most clean sheets with a defensive cock and
that was 4 years ago, though.
When was last time Meslier got
get over Bielsa, then we have to get over Meslier from those years.
Mellier's still here.
No, but we have to forget the fact that he was that because he was that, but he hasn't improved. He's got older.
So you think he's got worse?
Yeah, and his statistics back it up as well. His statistics show that the more shots that he has faced, considering he's faced one of the least amount of shots, he's conceded more goals than he should have conceded. So that goes to show that it's the midfield and the defenders saving him, and he isn't saving Leeds. Like, he's cost us more points this season than he saved us because the midfield and the defenders are doing a better job than he is.
I think even if you take the howlers out of it, because every keeper makes howlers, so I don't like to just put that on him. Yeah, he's made a couple of absolute stinkers, but keepers do that. But when you look like look at his personal stats, I think last year, personally, out of goalkeepers, I think he was 16th or 17th in league for like all his combined stats personally. If he raises that to 3rd or 4th in league, where we were knocking around for most of the season, we'd probably get enough points to go up. We'd probably finish 2nd instead of 3rd. And that's not based on howlers. That's probably based on stuff like Evie says, a shot that he was expected to save and he didn't. That adds up in over 46 games. If he's 3rd or 4th in that table instead of 16th, 17th, maybe that's an extra 4 or 5 points and we get 2nd instead of 3rd. That's how I sort of see it. I don't like hammering him while he's down because no one will feel worse than Meslier at Sunderland when he makes a mistake. My big thing is they call him the Iceman. Like, I don't see how he's cool, calm, and collected. I really don't like it.
So, not anymore.
Yeah, I don't see where that nigga come from. But like for me, he's just one of those players who, I say he's on the verge of staying too long. He's probably crossed that up by a year or 2 now, Luke. And you might be a Meslier fan. I don't like, digging him out.
No, mate.
I think when we go up, mate, you probably agree we just need someone better, don't we, pal?
Absolutely.
But for now, he's fine right now, and I don't think it'll affect us. I don't see him doing another 3 or 4 howlers. I think he's lucky that he's got a good defence in front of him, and we'll be okay. I don't feel like it's going to jeopardise us going up this year. But maybe last year,
we were getting peppered, weren't it? If we were getting peppered week out, my God.
Luckily, we don't.
But would he potentially make more saves? He'd be
maybe.
And, we're going to sit here and we're going to,
of course.
It was a lot busier in the Premier League. Is probably a good argument to say why maybe it was more switched on. I don't think a player can just deter and get worse at his age that quickly and that rapidly. I don't necessarily think his attributes have got any worse. I just think there's a lot more differentials than just saying his XG face should be better. Like,
we got worse as well, though.
Absolutely.
I tell you what
about like Dele Alli and players like that? People can get worse. They can.
Plenty of reasons why Dele Alli probably got worse.
I know, but
I know about them.
There is lots of examples where players start with a high ceiling,
but not
and
at that
then
age. Is what I'm trying to say.
But maybe he peaked too soon. Maybe he started to believe his own hype and stuff like that. At the end of the day,
like I said, there's lots of differentials.
Yeah, and you're right. We did face a lot more shots, and to be honest, I genuinely think our defense now is better than the one in the relegation season. The defense that we have now might even give us a chance of, because it wasn't scoring goals that we had an issue with; it was keeping the ball out of the net. So
we blamed that Abad, didn't we? Whatever he's called, the goalkeeping coach before, and then we got a new goalkeeping coach who Fark was brought with him. Is it Angus Gunn's dad? Our coach, our goalkeeping, not Angus Gunn's dad. The other lad's dad. Anyway, Farker
you're right. You're right. You're right. Angus Gunn's dad was the goalie who was at Norwich, but he's not that guy who he's brought with him.
No, but he was the same coach when he was at Norwich.
He's had many years though as our number one without much backup. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of players who play for us, and they've got people, especially now, maybe not in previous years, but they've got people out their arse wanting that shirt. I know Darlow's playing well for Wales, but I don't really think at any point he's really had that. No, I don't feel like Mellier's ever had that. It's not just pushing him for that shirt, which we know competition breeds, success, and you improve when someone's on your heels. But I feel like just in training, someone to learn off, someone with more experience. He's never had that, to be fair. I feel like he's been hung out to dry by club for a long time Whether I agree is good enough or not is another topic, but I do think that's a fair point as well.
I don't think he's good enough. I mean, I'm brutally honest. If we do go, he's absolutely not. Could we have signed better? Absolutely. Is there anyone better at the club now? No. Let's just get on with it. And then the very fact that this is the only thing that we're discussing is a negative from yesterday's games, when there were far more than that actually. And I think Byron was really poor defensively. I thought Stroik was poor yesterday. I thought Boredom was poor. And we're sat here discussing, Meslier's positioning for 3 goals, which I don't think he was at fault for any, if I'm honest.
Well, let's pivot now. I'm going to come to you, Lockie. Quite a surprise when the lineup came out. Not a surprise. Some of us predicted it a lot or thought it could happen with the way that he'd spoke Solomon up, but quite a surprise to see Nonto drop out. And Farke must feel vindicated with that, because we probably got Solomon's best performance. He gets 2 goals. Nonto comes off the bench and scores, and we're seeing him rotate and use the squad. And, he even spoke about it tomorrow on Wednesday's game, that we'll see changes again. And he mentioned specifically the wingers and the work rate they put in. So you probably might see Nonto come back in. I don't know who drops out. We'll wait and see. But it's positive, isn't it? That we've had Solomon had a decent performance. I felt pre-international break, goes away, man at match against Belgium, comes back to Leeds, 2 goals. You hope now he can really kick on and start to, because he's got 2 goals and 1 assist. It's not a bad return.
Yeah.
I guess.
The whole rotation thing. Before I talk about Solomon, it confused me a little bit. I can't lie. The last few weeks, for whatever reason, a lot of people have been saying he needs to rotate. We're not talking about subs here, by the way. We're talking about the start of the game. He needs to change the starting 11. And I'm thinking, who's he changing? There's no centre mid. Who's he bringing in? Crew. Schmidt's injured now. That's the only one you could probably argue maybe get more game time, but he's injured. I don't get who really could have rotated. Ramazani's been injured, and as opposed to the striker, he rotates them every week. It's just one every week. So he does rotate what he's got for me. I never really understood that. And he did rotate. He dropped Willie Nonto, which a lot of people wouldn't be brave enough to do, would they? Let's be honest.
No, definitely not.
And it worked. It did work. Solomon still getting sharpness. Don't think he's at the level he can be yet, but he's getting there. He's getting better. I think each week he looks a little more like the player he can be. And look, he scored 2 goals and he made the runs. That's what people are not talking about. There might be 6 yards out, but how many players this year make those runs? We hardly see it. And if we do, we've seen players miss from there, by the way, our own players. And this is the thing. But if that's Mateo Joseph scoring them goals, everyone's like, get him in, he needs to start and all this, and rightfully so. Because they won't be saying the same thing. Mateo Joseph made those runs, he made this, he did that, But whether it's another player, it's different narrative. You've got to get in the box, be in position. And I think our problem this year is our runs into the box have not been good. I think the players like to hide a bit in there. Apart from maybe Pirro, obviously. A bit hidden. How many goals do our wingers really score from in the box? It's not really that much. So Solomon did that, scores 2 goals. What else can you say? He's there to do it. He did his job. And then there's Dan James on the other end. We're getting another player to come in who I just think he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was.
I think he's an absolute quality player. 3 assists, let's be honest. And
do you not think he had a bit of an up and down performance, though? Because I was thinking about it early. He fluffed a few crosses where I was like,
that's him, mate. That's him.
I suppose.
But up and down.
I thought that about Solomon, though, in fairness, until he got that second. I thought, he's got him for that first, and it was a good finish. And then I thought he had a shit game other than that. And then he scored that second. I was like, get him off. And I was like, keep him on.
Too many games this season, though, where our wingers have played well, but the final bit has been rubbish. Whereas yesterday, it was maybe the opposite. They didn't get in the game, like Luke said, they didn't get in the game too much, but they were on the end of everything. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're a weird team like that. We're always a bit weird. But I thought Dan James, we were. Like Matty said, we're clinical. Isn't that great? We just conceded 3. But I thought Dan James was brilliant, mate. Look, he likes to cut in and shoot from his left from 30 yards out, which just makes me laugh. I'm like, why are you doing that? You're right footed. It's not your game, mate. But, mate, the best thing for a winger is always be in the defender's head. And the best thing about Dan James is, even if the ball's on the other side of the pitch, that fullback cannot let go of him, because he knows if he switch off for half a second, he's gone. And I absolutely love him for that. A lot of our wingers are very to feet. They like to play it to feet and run at them. Dan James is, if there's a space behind you, I'm finding it. And that is so horrible for a defender to defend. I thought it was brilliant, mate. Every single attack is there. He's part of it. He's the main part of it.
Your man of the match?
Yeah.
Is everyone else in agreement?
Yeah, are you not impressed with how he can sort of slow things down now in his head when he's clear on goal like that? I mean,
he's improved under Farke.
Honestly,
This is the thing. People say Farke doesn't do that. He's massively improved.
He used to be so rash, didn't he? You know, whether he was crossing or shooting last year. I know he still had moments, you know, he had a few where he blazed it over bar, but like that one where he set up that first goal, gets played through like that, the pace of him makes you know, Strout's pass was phenomenal, but that pace takes him away from the defender. And a FIFA sort of goal, like when it play across ball and tap it in. But like Solomon, really good to hold his run. He could have been too eager and straight offside, held his run really well. But just that there, Dan James a couple of years ago, lashes that, tries to shoot, misses it. That there, running at that speed to play that ball perfectly, and it makes it look so easy when for Dan James making that pass as perfect, it isn't easy when you're running at that pace. So for me, I think 3 assists, like I say, I think he only gets 2, doesn't he? Because that own goal isn't classed as one. But the way he slows himself down in that box now, and that final goal for Willie Gnonto, to cut inside like that and play a ball, any 10 in the world would be proud of playing that pass in. Plays him on side. It's a beautiful finish. Like he's come all round. He's becoming undroppable as Dan James. And I don't like using the word drop, but for me, I think in 5 or 6 games time, Aronson comes out. He don't get dropped, but he comes out because eventually Ramazani gets left. Dan James won't get dropped from the right, and you've got to get Gnonto in. So I think going forward, around Christmas time, you're going to see a front four of, I think, Joseph will have to play if Aronson comes out. It'll be Joseph, Gnonto in 10, Ramazani on left, and James on right. And I think if everyone's fit, that's his best 4, personally.
I disagree.
That's fine. That's fine.
I know. I think... I think... we can't drop Aronson. I don't like. Because
not dropping him, rotate him, and then he won't get back in, Joe. Then he won't get back in if they rotate him.
I don't think Gnonto gives us what Aronson does in the 10, though, off the ball.
He don't. But look at Farke at Norwich. He likes a flair player, a Buendia. Buendia won't have pressed like Aronson did in Norwich, but it still works.
He played on the wing, though, Buendia. He didn't play in the 10.
If you've got Joseph, then
that's why I
kind
think
of make up for not having Aronson pressing.
Aaronson's a machine.
And, I love Aronson, mate. I love him.
Oh, I know that. I just think everyone at some point, not everyone, but it's a running thing. Getting on to in the 10. There's a reason why Farke doesn't play him in the 10, folks. Regularly. There's a reason why Aronson starts every game.
Yeah.
I don't see
I agree, Joe. I don't think he works under this manager. Daniel Farke played Stipem and Rancic in the 10, who were about 6'3", both of them. That's how he played there in the Championship. Maybe different in the Prem. He may have been Buendia in the Prem, played in more central. Or did he leave? I can't remember. But he did, didn't he? But in the Championship, he likes big physical players in there who can play along the striker and get in the box, like Perot does. And I think that's the idea behind Perot last season, playing him there. He wanted to play that kind of profile. But the thing about Aronson, and Aronson did an interview, it was at International Break, where he mentions he's not just a hard worker. He doesn't like that kind of narrative about him. But what he's got to accept is right now, I think that is the best part of his game and the most consistent part. The reason he was brought to Leeds, and remember he was liked by Bielsa as well, wasn't he? Before, obviously, he left, but he wanted him the year before because his running stats were absolutely insane. They were the best in Europe. So he's got to accept that that's what he's in the team for, and he might have to sacrifice a bit of that. But I think there is talent there, and I think he just needs to be a little more consistency. If he wants to be known as well as a good runner, a technical player, I do think, and it's fair to say that he does need to be a bit more consistent in the final third. There is times where he rushes too much. The pass isn't right. He makes a wrong decision. He's a bit hesitant. But a player that works that hard in that position is so important to the way we play. Because not only does that, he'll do a bit of the work at Tanaka and Rothwell as well. He'll do a bit of their work. And they can be a bit more focused on their individual players. And if Perot's playing, I think he needs to do a bit of his work as well. He's underrated in that sense. But I do agree that I do think he has to get better in terms of his end product.
For me, it's not even him. Go on, son. It's not even him getting better, Joe. It's more. I just feel like James and Gnonto are going to outshine him. And how do you leave? How would you take James out of this side right now? And I know we're talking in future. And I mean, Gnonto came out. Granted, I feel like that was just a freshen up. I don't see much in that. Who do you see going forward if we had a fully fit squad? Because you're saying one of them two would have to miss out, then wouldn't you, for Aronson to play alongside Ramazan? Who would you leave out, Joe? Just having interest.
Well, I mean, it's probably it's a difficult decision, but if we go back
it's
to
based on form, isn't it? Yeah, it's based on form.
If we go back to last season, James got dropped for Nonto.
Only because he was injured, not because Nonto.
No, exactly though. But then he couldn't get it back. But my
He didn't
point
get back
is,
in, yeah.
He didn't get back in because he wasn't fit. You argue that Nonto didn't have his best pal there because he was out of form as well.
Yeah.
Dan James can perform on his own. He doesn't need somebody to hold his hand. Nonto, we often see the best out of him when he's got a little busy mate there. You know, obviously you see that relationship with him and Ramazani forming, and you know we see the best of him. You know, he's also back in the team. Does that mean that maybe Nonto plays better when he's got somebody there to hold his hand? Nonto went out of form when Ramazani wasn't there. And now Ramazani's back in the squad. Nonto's back performing. You know, like there's parallels that you can draw. And for me, you can't drop Dan James in the sense of, regardless of whether it went down as an assist or not, he was vital to 3 out of the 4 of those goals yesterday. Without him on the pitch, we don't win that game. Simple as. So, and he also has that fight about him. So you know how you were saying about Ramsdale and about how he gets it? Dan James is a shithouse as well. And we don't have many like wingers. We've got quite, you know, Nonto takes it too far and becomes petulant. Dan James, with growing up in the kind of, you know, English football, he knows how to shithouse and get away with it kind of thing, whereas Nonto reacts. He's got better at it this season, like I will say that. Like he is holding his tongue a bit more and not being quite as petulant. But for me, Dan James offers more team, and he offers us that kind of just that bit of grit and determination, and he doesn't let it, you know, the only time I've ever seen Dan James's head drop was those 2 games after the Wales game last season when he missed that penalty. Other than that, I've never seen him drop his head. Whereas Aronson, when he came back from international duty in the relegation season, he was not the same player and yet he played every single time. So we've seen a manager before not drop Aronson when he wasn't with it mentally anymore.
So are you advocating him coming out as well then, Eva?
I'm advocating rotation because I think competition gives Leeds United the best possible chance of getting promoted. And we saw what not rotating last year did.
Agreed. I just think we'll see rotation when we get a 10 in January.
Yeah.
The thing with Aronson as well, because he runs so much, you know, do you ever really know if he's burnt out because he's just naturally fit and he'll do it anyway? You know, that's the worry for me, that he does get, because when managers play him a lot. Yeah, because of how naturally fit he is. And he's probably that type of character. You all right? He'll just go, yeah, I'm glad, let's go.
If I can never subs him, really, does he? So he obviously likes it.
No, he plays a lot of football.
He does.
And it's a long game. So rotation's the right word. I think there will be games where, well, he might come out and might put someone else in there. But I agree. I don't think there's an ideal solution to put someone in there until the January market, if we get someone, to be honest. Unless it's Perot again. But
where do you stand on it, Luke? Do you think we should give Nonto a chance in the 10? I've heard people say, do you go Perot and Joseph? You know, there's other options.
We've seen Perot and Joseph, haven't we? Yeah. We've seen that. It didn't really work. I wouldn't mind seeing Nonto in the 10, but I don't think we're in a position to start doing experiments when things are working. I don't understand why I would start doing that sort of experiment when, excuse me, when actually think Aronson in there doing the dirty nitty-gritty work, as Lockie quite rightly pointed out. There's no need to change that. He could do 90 minutes easily. He could probably do 180 minutes and still have enough energy. So whilst he's in there and he's doing something, look, he could be chipping in with more assists. That'd be great. That'd be ideal. But while other players are picking up the assist and we're picking up points and winning games, why do we feel that maybe in a cup game, maybe in the FA Cup, maybe we draw a lower league side, give Nonto a run, a 10 potentially. We're not going to be that bothered about the cup. I wouldn't suggest this year, which I don't like saying because I used to love the FA Cup growing up, but I just think it's not. This isn't the time for experiments. We've never really seen Nonto other than a couple of times last season when towards the end of the season when Farke was rotating Rutter, Somerville, and Nonto, the 3 of them, when they were all started, and he almost give them all freedom to swap and change with each other. I don't think we've ever seen Nonto play particularly centrally. So no, I'm not. Why would you want to?
His role as well as
why would you want to, Matty?
I just think other players maybe play themselves into starting, and he might be left waiting in wings. That's all. Like I say, it's not a term. It's not really dropping him. I think there will be games where you bring him out to rotate, and if Nonto comes in Wednesday at 10 and scores 2 and assists 1 or something like that, you keep him again. I just feel like he could get on a roll, and then Aronson might not be able to get it back. That's mainly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And also, running has to be effective, and we saw like Aronson's. It is, and it was at the start of the Premier League season. And then it became a nuisance and a pest, and he was running around like a headless chicken. That's what I don't want to see. I don't want that rhetoric to start again. I think Daniel Farke is a much better man manager, so I don't think it will. But I want Leeds to get promoted. I'm not bothered whether Aronson gets promoted. I want Leeds to get promoted. So I think there's a difference. And for me, rotation is so key in that it keeps everybody on their toes. It keeps everybody's performance and their standards at the best possible way, because, you know, I think it was a fantastic decision of Farke and a very brave decision for him to not put Nonto in and to start Solomon, because it just keeps Somerville knew he was starting, you know, Rutter knew he was starting, you know, when there's people that just know that they're going to start no matter what, they don't have to exert themselves. And sometimes that mentality, especially when you get into the really, you know, the last third of the season and it's all to play for. And, you know, do we want to have a situation where players are potentially looking out for themselves because maybe we've lost a few too many and we're on the cusp of automatics, but not guaranteed, you know? Then you want those players to be vying for, you know, for starting positions and to not just expect that they're going to be there. And I want every player to be effective. And, you know, as well, I don't want him to knacker himself out, because just because he can run for 90 minutes every game doesn't mean that that's the right choice for him and the team necessarily.
Well, it's not just that, is it? He offers so much. I mean, he wins the ball back for some of the goals. I think, you know, his pass percentage is pretty decent. You know, there seems to be this hangover, I feel. I had a debate with someone in the pre-match prior to the game, and he said he's always losing the ball. And I was like, I don't think that's correct. Like, maybe in the Prem, but not now. And then I said to him, we'll do a little counter. And every time Aronson, I would say, there you go, Cody. He's not lost the ball. He actually won it back. I remember Cody in the chat. So it's like sometimes we can have an opinion of a player and it's very, very hard for them to shake it. I can't remember, bar when Callum O'Hare bodied him getting bounced about like he did previously. He's definitely stronger. And I think we're underappreciating what he brings to the side. And if we took him out for a run of games, we'd notice.
Don't you think we're talking about Nonto though? Like, he can't run. A confident Nonto.
He can't do what Aronson can.
Not saying he can, Joe, but he can
different.
do. He might be 20% less, but he might give you 50% more.
That's massive, though.
It might
20% less in fine margins and stuff. He's massive.
But not when you've got like a Dan James, you know, a Joseph, and then if he's chipping in with more goals than Aronson and more assists than Aronson, you know,
has he got more goals than Aronson now?
No, not currently, no.
Well, there you go.
Or assists.
I don't think anybody's saying that we don't want him in the team. We just want everybody to stay competitive.
No, he's making an argument. Maybe he'd have more goals, but they both played probably similar amount of minutes, and Aronson's got more goals.
In my opinion, he would get more goals than him in that role. In my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, you're fair to say that.
So, do you think Nonto's preferred position then is, or best position is 10 rather than on the wing?
Well, mate, I thought it were left, and that's proven not to be the case. So, to be fair, mate, I don't know. I don't know where his best position is. I don't even know if he does yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, he kind of went yesterday with that. He was central when he scored in terms of he was going back and forth with Dan James, bang in the middle of the pitch kind of thing. And he has he doesn't seem to have that fear that Aronson does. I think Aronson gets in his own head, whereas Gnonto's...
My head's blown with this, you know. Honestly, it is blown. I'm really confused.
I'm not saying that I don't like him. I've forgiven him for all of everything that happened because he's here and he's wearing the shirt. So I'm not holding any resentment on that level. But I just don't want to be in a situation where we were last March, where we've been so reliant. And then because we haven't rotated, we're then expecting fairly cold players to come in and potentially take over. And as well, we've been who would have said at the beginning of the season, especially you, Joe, about Rothwell? And now, you know, like we've been in a position where we're now with our kind of fourth choice midfield and we're looking like a more balanced team. I'm not saying necessarily 100% better, but just more balanced. And we're not as kind of, we have to play X way because that's the style. We're a little bit more fluid with Tanaka and Rothwell in the middle. So change may be scary, but it could also prove beneficial to Leeds in the long run.
We've been talking about rotation, haven't we? We've just dug ourselves an early, haven't we?
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm not digging. I'm absolutely fine.
Two things there. We've just praised Dan James for running around and getting what's Leeds and pressing and doing everything really well.
Was Aronson involved in all 3 goals yesterday? Yes.
No, he was involved in one though. Massive.
All 3. One of them. But all 3.
No, he wasn't. He was involved in 2. He got 2 assists.
No, he didn't.
He got 2 assists yesterday.
Yeah, but without Dan James crossing that ball, the ball doesn't get the own goal. Simple as that.
Well, you're guessing, but yeah.
Well,
probably.
No, because it literally went in. If the defender didn't get it,
She's
then
on
Hero
smoke
would have done.
tonight. She's come out fighting, hasn't she?
Well, I just don't understand how we can go from one conversation at the start of it saying how great things were, and then we're just slamming Meslier and Aronson all night.
I'm not slamming Aronson at all, and I'm just spitting facts about Meslier. There's a difference. I'm not. I'm advocating for.
Don't believe the
rotation.
Truth. Don't believe the truth is what I'd say.
Don't believe the truth. I don't get it. I'm not quite sure. Go on, explain. Come on. If I'm digging, then you're digging right there with me. So explain.
No, I'm fine. I watched. I know what I saw. I mean, I know Dan James got officially 2 assists.
Yeah, and I said that. I said he's got 2 assists, but he was instrumental. If he doesn't play that ball in, the ball doesn't miraculously end up at the defender's feet for him to tap it in.
When we started tonight and we said we don't understand how people have got this negative narrative from anything about yesterday,
I'm not being negative.
No, you are.
How am I being
about
negative?
Aronson? Have you not just been going off about Aronson?
No, I said...
Meslier before that.
I love Aronson, me. Absolutely love him.
The stats, Luke, you've got this thing with Meslier because me and you had a heated discussion last year about Meslier. We had a heated discussion, and the facts are that, you know, he is statistically bad. He's got worse season on season. He is absolutely fine for this level, and I'm not saying that I would advocate for Meslier to go right now, but if I want promotion and I want...
Oh, fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
They must have finished early tonight.
I'll see you in the car park.
But Aronson, I didn't come out and say anything about Aronson. I came out and I said I wanted rotation. I also said I complimented Falcon taking Gnonto out. I'm also not saying that Gnonto doesn't deserve to be in the team. I've always said that we need rotation.
You said that Aronson went around like a headless chicken this year. I think that was
I said last year, not this year.
Oh, well, then I misheard you. I thought
Aronson was very effective this year.
I said in the relegation season after the international break, he came back and was running around like a headless chicken because the managers, multiple of them that we went after Christmas, refused to drop him or Jack Harrison, and both of whom were useless for us in the end. So I wasn't saying the fact that Aronson has been useless for us this season.
So what's that got to do with this season? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Because I don't want Aronson to get in that rut. And then I also qualified that and said I don't think he will, because I think Daniel Farke is a better man manager, whereas Jesse Marsh was crap. We all know that.
So why are we advocating then swapping Aronson if you don't think that's going to happen? I honestly, I don't understand.
Advocating rotation so that we never become dependent. We became too dependent on Rutter and Somerville last year. I just don't want to see us make the same mistakes. I'm not having an argument. I don't understand why you're saying that I'm calling out Aronson. I've equally said that about all of our players, that we need competition. That is what gets you promotion. You don't get promoted with 11 players. You get promoted with a squad. Hence why Joe and other people like to say that we've got the best squad. What's the point of having a squad if you don't use them, if you just stick with the same 11 players? If Aronson gets injured, then we have to rotate him. So I'm just advocating for Leeds United to rotate. I'm not saying I am against Aronson in the slightest. I'm just saying I don't want any Leeds player to feel that they are entitled, and I will use that word this time, to play. They have to earn that spot. And Aronson has earned his spot right now. I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm just saying I want to see rotation to make sure that when all players are called upon, they're not cold. We saw it with Geldhart last season. We saw it with multiple players because they hadn't been given the chance throughout the season to play. They weren't good enough for us.
Okay.
And I think eventually, once he does get rotated and comes out the side, when everyone's fit, if everyone's fit, I think he may lose his spot. That's where I'm on. I don't think right now he deserves to come out and lose his spot, but I just think the talent and
this is what I don't understand, Matt. This is why I don't understand why we're having this conversation right now. I don't get it off the back of that victory, and Aronson is playing well this season. And I don't understand why we're having a conversation.
I think we talk about Luke
and having that rotation.
We've got 3 games in 6 days, pal. So that's probably why we're talking about. That's probably why it's come up. And obviously, Joe asked a question, but it's one of them for me where he deserves to play. He's won his shirt back. I think a lot of fans really are fond of him. He's a decent cog in that engine. But also, a lot of fans are saying it's boring, which I don't agree with. I just think it's controlled and measured. But that could be down to having a 10 that's quite industrious and isn't a flair player. That's why I sort of think it might switch up. When we got Rothwell and Tanaka in there, no one expected the upturn. No, maybe not, Joe. Maybe not, no. But like I say, you think of those wingers we've got, and they all can rotate. I mean, not all can fill in there, and we've seen it before. Ramazani could probably play in 10. Let's be fair; they can all move about and rotate, and there's some talent there, serious talent. All I'm saying is, if Aronson comes out, are you saying we lose every game? No, we're probably not. So somebody could stand out in that 10 role and replace him. It's easily done.
I think it's the could though for me. I think it's the could. We're taking a massive risk there because when it's working, it's working. And
100%.
I get it. I've got people. I can. I understand it's a long season. It's not the first time I've watched Leeds United. I know it's 46 games in the season. People have been quite blunt, and it's not hard to understand why we might be looking at other alternatives in 10. But simply put, if he's not fit, Pirro plays 10 for us, and we know that's going to happen. I don't think that is potentially the right option, but that is going to happen. Simple as that.
Maybe.
I think it's on the ball, going forward. You're putting on to win there. Yeah, he can tear them apart and score 2 or 3 goals potentially. Ramazani can do the same. Yeah. For me, it's off it. It's the defensive side of it. It's our shape. The most consistent part of us this season is our shape. It's really good. And obviously we conceded 3 and that was a bit odd, wasn't it? But our shape down the middle has been brilliant. You take him out of it. All those brilliant players that we just mentioned, I don't think can do that side of it as good as he can.
I think we'll see soon because I think there will be rotation there. I do think 3 games in 6 days. It took Nonto out of firing line, and who would have thought that a weekend? There's every chance Aronson could come out in next 2 just for the rest. Been on international duty, and then we'll see them, won't we? Which I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more rotation, like Evie said.
Thanks, Matty.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
So you're looking. Hang on. He's rotated yesterday, and you're looking forward to more rotation.
Well, I am, mate, because I don't want the same players playing 3 games in 6 days, Joe. I don't.
Yeah, but so we're just speaking about one, aren't we? This is Aaron's.
Well, at the minute, I mean, that's just for this week.
By that logic, then,
other weeks like that.
By that logic, then, should we start the bio tomorrow?
No, obviously not.
That's a bit facetious.
But let's say in 2 months' time, though, Joe. Let's say around Christmas time.
Should we start Bamford?
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not. But let's say around Christmas time, we've got 3 games in 6 days, which we will have around that time. When we've got more players back, Ramazani's fit, and we've got players firing on all cylinders. I think that rotation.
Should we have dropped Rutter last season and Somerville? Rutter and Somerville? Did you just drop them?
Well, no, but you'd say not. But like Evie said, towards end of season, they weren't as effective. So maybe a couple of games out wouldn't have been a problem. But this season, we've got better players. So maybe last season, there's a point to why they didn't.
Yeah, I just
fair.
yeah.
No, burnt out
exactly.
these players, Joe, towards the end of last season, which is what Evie said. So as much as you say no on, your team sheet comes in last year and they're taking out a team, you'd say, what are they doing? But because we know what happened last year and how it played out, you'd probably say, looking back now, maybe a couple of games wouldn't have been a miss because some of them played nearly all of them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. I just think rotation for rotation's sake. No, I don't know. I love Aronson though, so it's I love Aronson and I don't think I don't think he's getting the praise he should be, if I'm honest.
Maybe not.
He's the first player in that forward line to go, I think we should take him out. I hear other people saying it, saying I want to see Perrault and Joseph there. Why? You've seen Perrault in the 10. He's terrible. He's cumbersome.
But he would be our second choice number 10, and we know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it is, and we've seen how ineffective we are, and that's a great example. Like compare the team and the way how balanced we are now compared to potential last season when we did rely on Rutter and we did rely on Somerville pulling us out of shape. Now the goals are spread far more evenly across that front four, and I mean it's open to debate. That's why we're here.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoy it, man. It's good. So just to clarify, Aronson out.
Get him out.
Yeah, get him out. Let's pivot. We've done longer than I expected, but it's cool. Is everyone good for time?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a little talk about this week. Then, obviously, we've got 2 games coming up. Lockie, I'll come to you. You've sat quietly there, mate. I bet you were looking, thinking it's like my parents arguing. We've got Luton on Wednesday. Not in great form. Sunderland got to West Brom. Sheffield United have potentially an easy game against Oxford, but Blackburn's the big one on the weekend for me because Sunderland and Sheffield United play each other on Friday. So someone's dropping points, if not both, if they get a point apiece. So there's an opportunity for Leeds here to potentially create a nice little cushion, maybe. Do you think they can?
We don't like opportunities at Leeds United Football Club,
exactly.
They're not our friend. So, Luton, you know what? I think their position in the league is a bit of a false herring? Is that the word? Is that the word you use? I don't know. I think it's a bit fake. They're a first-year parachute payment team. Everyone was saying that about us and Leicester and all that last year. First-year parachute payment team. They were in the Premier League last year and they haven't lost many players. I think they're struggling to find real motivation this year. Last year they're playing the underdogs out there. That's what their story was going. When they got promoted originally, they were the underdogs. They went all the way through the leagues doing that. In the Premier League, they were the underdogs, and they were competitive in every game. They hardly got battered, and they like that. Now it's different that they're kind of the big dogs in this league, having come down from the Prem. And they're finding that difficult to get up for games, I think, and really find that cutting edge. But in terms of individual players, Morris scored 14, 15 goals in the Prem last year. Like, you know what I mean? You've got Doherty was linked with, I believe, Spurs and stuff like that. There's a few others there as well. They've got some good players. They're a good team. They've just lost the way a little bit. But apparently, I saw earlier about their chairman and their coaches had a long discussion during international break to be on the right page again, and they won at the weekend.
Hull City, though, I don't take a Hull City have been terrible.
What I was going to say, if there's a time to change your season around, it's against the team at the top of the league, right? That's their opportunity and that's their motivation. Having said that, look, yes, we are a better side. We have been very good, and we're at home, and I think we should beat them. And it should be relatively comfortable if we turn up. But then going into the weekend, one of the Sunderland and Sheffield United have got to drop points, so we've just got to go and just get a win, haven't we? Make that gap bigger. But when there's a chance for Leeds United to make a nice, easy little cushion, we like to not do that. But we won't this time, right? We're changed, Joe, right? We're different now, right?
Yeah. You hope we're different. Luke, how do you see these two going, mate?
I think we win against Luton. I think it'll be like as Lockie quite rightly says. It'll be tougher than probably the league position might suggest. But I still fully expect, because I'm expectant as a Leeds fan, us to do the business. Certainly at home, I think it'll be tougher down there when we play them later on in the season. But certainly think we should have enough. Obviously, players returning. I think we might even see Warber because I don't think Byram's got it in him.
Byram, yeah.
And obviously,
midweeks really. Yeah.
So we might see Warburg at left back or Stroik at left back and Warburg at centre back, which I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work or what. Obviously, we don't know what's been going on with Warburg and everything else. It sounds like he puts a plaster on something and he has to have a game or two out. So that one I expect us to win. Blackburn next after that, isn't it? Away.
Yeah, Blackburn away, mate. Yeah,
Blackburn away. Yeah. Again, I think that'll be a lot tougher. They started quite well this season, and they signed a young, is he Japanese, I think, or Korean lad?
Everyone's got a Japanese player these days, haven't they, man? It's the in thing.
Celtic's got about 7.
Yeah,
I watched Celtic the other day. They've got about 7 of them. So I think the two tricky fixtures, but I think there's still 2 that we should probably be expecting to come away with 6 points. And I think probably any less than that, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Evie, how do you see it going?
Yeah, I think we have to not give any stupid, silly free kicks away. They're a much bigger team than we are. And I agree with Lockie. I think it is a false position that they are currently. I think they're better, than their league position says that they are. I don't want to do the Leeds thing in terms of give them. I know, obviously, they just beat Hull. Was it 1-0 the other day?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't want to do that thing where we reach the top and then can't handle the pressure of being top. I think that's something that FARC will have to work on, because we did go top, I think, just before that March international break. And then we all know what happened after that. So I would like us to have that. I believe that Gulavogi gave them like a pep talk before the game. Yeah. So I would love if he did another one of those, A, because, we won, and B, because, maybe he is the reason why it was so exciting. So, yeah, I think that this will be the difference to see if we've got it in us that we didn't do last season, in the fact of when it's in our hands, or when it was in our hands every time last season we fluffed our lines. So I would like for it to, I'd like us to do the job. And I think as well, obviously we beat Blackburn away 2-0 last year. I would like us to thoroughly beat them, because of the fact that obviously it was kind of that loss that really, that was the final kind of nail in the coffin. Obviously they were our first loss at home last season. So I would just like us to really beat them. And Luton, I just think don't give away a stupid free kick. And I think we've got more than enough to beat them.
Yeah. I'm just looking here, obviously, just for the preview, just some notes I've made, and since we lost to Burnley, we have scored 12 and conceded 1 at home. We've won 5 on the spin. It's fucking insane. It is insane. So knowing that, Matty, what are you saying?
6 points, mate, out of these 2 games, I think. We just don't get at home, mate. We just don't give opposition a chance, really. We keep ball too much, don't we? And I feel like obviously you get 3 points for a win, regardless of how you get it. But if you 2-0s, 3-0s are brilliant. But to win a game like that at Swansea, they're going to be absolutely bouncing in that game on Wednesday at Leeds. Like, the confidence will be sky high. You can get so much from a performance like that. It galvanizes you, brings you all together. That euphoric moment when you just thought you'd lost the 2 point. You thought you dropped 2 points, and the elation of getting that. That's for me. They're gonna. Usually at Ellen Road, they come out firing anyway. Yeah, they miss a lot of chances. There's only been a couple of games this season where they've really, like that Watford one, where they've really stuck it on them and got early goals. But we do tend to have a decent spell at Ellen Road first 15 minutes. I expect that. They know mugs, Luton. They didn't really sign anyone big when they went up to Premier League, but they didn't really lose anyone when they come back down either. So fair play to them. I think it's a false position, like Lockie says. But I expect 3 points. I think most of us will agree on that. The Blackburn one away worries me just because of the away form in general. Obviously it was a struggle at Swansea, even though a buzzing with result. But the fact we're taking 7,000 of our own fans there, and we've got like a full stand, maybe you know, it's not exactly a daunting place to go, really, Wood Park. So I'm hoping we can maybe turn that in our favour and outsing them and make it feel like a home game. That's why I'm going for 6 points.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think we'll get 6, and then
place though to go get. I don't know if you've ever been. It's whilst there's 7,000 there, never anything ever gets going. It's really, really tough as a visiting fan. Yeah, even with that full one stand, because I mean a lot of it's because a lot of people who don't usually go to away tickets to games can get tickets because we've got so many. But the other reason is just nothing seems to carry there. It's a bit of a weird one, to be fair.
Oh well. It wasn't like that for me, Luke. I enjoyed it, man. It was a good away day.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. But I mean, ever since, I think it just feel. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's 7,000 there. But sometimes you go to an away game and there's 3,000.
Like Preston, you got Preston. You can tell when you're at Preston. There's a lot. Yeah. Fair. It's a good. Yeah, it's fair shoot. Fair shout, to be fair. But yeah, I think look, still top by next week, and then we'll roll on. Hopefully top by Christmas. It's been a great show tonight. Really enjoyed it. Debates and what. And that's what it's all about. So thank you, Evie, bringing her A game after being better. Can I just say as well, folks, because it actually really triggers me when it's in the chat. When we have a debate, no one's being rude. Everyone can handle each other's opinion and all that. It really, when people say, you can't handle a different opinion, calm down. And it's like, no one's angry.
I love when you do that accent,
No one is angry. No,
I'm buzzing.
No, you're right. You're right.
You know, and they'll say like, "Oh, you're right." It's like, no, we're just having a debate as you would have with your friends. We are
absolutely healthy debate. It's great.
There's 5 of us here. We're not all going to agree. You know, there's going to be stuff we don't agree on, and that's fine. It'd be boring if we all
did at the start though, saying how positive it was, and then we still managed to make 45 minutes of it about negativity.
100%. I did miss this super chat.
People complain that we always agree as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did miss this super chat. Grim Reaper says, Luke, you better watch out. Joe might meet you in the car park like Roy Keane yesterday at Ipswich. There you go. That was in relation.
What did Roy Keane do at Ipswich? I must have missed that.
He was offering a fan out. Yeah.
I've not seen that yet. I'll have to. I watched the game, but yeah, I'll have a look.
I'll see you in the car park. I'll see you in the car park.
Like when Mourinho did it when he waited for ref.
Yeah, man.
I did hear a story about Roy Keane though when he was. I think it might have been on. Anyway, I'll tell you off when we're finished because it's not that interesting.
Right, okay. I love it. Right, okay, we shall leave it there. Make sure you go check out Luke and the rest of the Ought to Know Better lads who've been in the chat tonight. Go check them out. Go check out Evie on Discourse of a Peacock, Matty on Imagine Not Being Leeds, and Ben Locke on Lockie Leeds. There'll be a preview out during the day tomorrow, and then I'm going to be doing the West Brom versus Sunderland game tomorrow night. Watch along. So,
Joe, can I just shout out my giveaway?
Sorry, you did mention. Go on, crack on, mate.
Yeah, I've got 2 tickets for the Luton game. One for myself and one for a subscriber. I thought it'd be nice to give back. I've just hit 300 subs, which I'm really proud of. So yeah, all you need to do is go over to Imagine Not Being Leeds on my YouTube, my Instagram, my TikTok or X.
Have you got Blue Sky as well? What's going on?
I don't do social media. I'm really trying to learn how to do it all. But so go on there. I've got a 2-minute video.
My MySpace, my Bebo.
Anyways, I've got a video over there. All you need to do is share it. Send me in DM a screenshot that you shared it, and I'll put you into raffle. I'm doing a preview tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and the raffle will be on that. That's all. That's it.
Can we enter?
Of course you can.
I can't make the Luton game, but I'll enter anyway.
There you go. There it is. And
thanks, guys.
That's a great opportunity. Who's not going to get your ticket, by the way? Who?
No one. I've got it through. I've got them through work, so there might be a few more like that. So I've managed to get them through work. Where I normally get 1, but I've managed to get 2, and hopefully I can do this 2 or 3 times a season just to make it
nice,
exciting. So yeah, I'm hoping so.
It is a lovely idea. Just
unless you get sat with somebody like me, imagine.
Aronson, shit, get him off.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You might get someone like Demar or something. That's a bit worse thing you could ever. Sean Ely. You know what I mean? You'd be ruined.
Yeah,
man. You'd be going, I'm never doing that again. Never.
Just give the pair away next time. Yeah. Just give the pair away.
Yeah, mate, yeah. Class.
You might just sit there, right, and just stare at you like that whole game, I love it, man.
Love it, guys.
Right. Love it, Demar. Right, okay, big up. Smash a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye, folks.